What's going on, you beautiful fur balls? This project, Texit Coin, I came in with a ton of skepticism. I watched a little bit over 10 hours of Zoom videos and calls, not to mention all the things that I read about. And so I want to talk about it with you today, let you in on kind of what it is, what their goals are, how they're generating. And then, of course, after we go through everything, I'm going to be going over all the red flags or the possible negatives as well, okay? So we're going to give it a deep dive that I like to do. I will say anybody who's using the link down below, if you end up buying any mining hash power, I will be doing some giveaway. I'm going to do $1,000 a giveaway. Now, if there's like 10 miners that end up getting bought, then each person will get $100. If there's one person who buys one miner, you'll get the $1,000. And if there's more than that, then the 10, I'm going to have to break it down and basically roll the dice and distribute among 10. Okay. But every miner that is purchased enters you into winning one of those. So Texit Coin currently is at $5.32. You can kind of see how it has progressed since 2024, climbing up, hitting a peak there, coming back down around 385 before having this push just in the last week here, which is sad face me because I actually was considering buying some of the coin just straight up around 390, hoping for this nudge and this push, which we'll talk about here in a little bit as well. So Texit Coin, this coin is basically a fork of Litecoin. Right, so they do have their own layer one. It's a fork of Litecoin, more or less, and it is actually being mined. Okay, proof of work mining, and so these are actual physical miners that are being run. That is mining this every day. Now it's very simple for you because what you're doing is you're basically purchasing hash power, okay, or a share of the hash that's being generated by all the machines that are being run, and then you are at the end of the day mining some of the Texit Coin, which ends up being about 2.7 per day. Now, always sounds too good to be true, but of course anybody who's in is currently already winning. Now that's a question of, okay, do I get in now and will I still win? So the miners are closing in on this 50,000 mark. There will be a absolute max of 1 million miners. We'll see if we ever get to that point. And of course it will change and continue to increase rapidly if of course the returns are coming in very nicely. So couple things I want to go over. First one is just purchasing period. If you do get any of these packages, yes, $1,000. Yeah, that's pretty big when you're thinking about just essentially some of the nodes out there right now. And I want you to let me know in the comments down below if you think I am a sucker, because I did go ahead and buy this. Now, here's one positive that I really like about this is the max somebody can buy. So if you're a whale, the most you can buy is basically 9 shares getting the mining power. Okay, so I like that because it protects you against whales that could just accumulate like crazy, and then of course dump on everybody and drive stuff to the ground. So that's a nice spread. Here's one thing I do want you just to hear from their CEO Bobby Gray, because it's very significant. He's obviously a public figure in the United States and obviously subject to U.S. law. So just listen to what he has to say.
As soon as you take somebody's money, you've made them a promise. You told them you're going to do something specific, and the moment that you don't is when it becomes a fraud. And I told everyone from day one that my job was to pay commissions, build the mine, promote the coin. There's other stuff we do. We'll talk about it in a couple minutes. But that was the responsibility. That was the burden that came onto my shoulders from the moment that I accepted money from somebody, whether it was my daughter or the guy that lives next door or the guy that I've been doing business with since 2009 or my friends or whatever it is. The moment that I take money from anybody is the moment that the clock starts ticking and it gets real. That's when it goes from, we're just trying this out, just an idea, just a little twinkle, to it's now real. And we've made a commitment. Money's changed hands, and now expectations are placed. Commitments need to be met, or all hell's going to break loose. And I want to remind you today that if you're on this call, there's a very good chance that you have taken that leap of faith. You've put money in. You handed it over. And now the responsibility is on my shoulders to be a good steward of that money. I want you to know that today that our fates are now connected. They're intertwined. Our financial futures are tied together at this moment right now. If I win and you lose, I probably go to jail. That's a scam. Rug pull, pump and dump, exit scam. There are all kinds of different versions of the way things could go bad, as they have done almost every other time before. So what are the chances that this is the one project that's going to work out? What are the chances that this is the one guy that's actually going to follow through? They're slim. I get it. I totally understand. But I want you to remember that our financial futures are now forever and inexplicably tied together, permanently. I need you to win in this endeavor. Because if you win, then I win too. Now, reminder.
So guys, I just wanted to play that because at least, I mean, they are very transparent. They do Zoom calls every week. I've watched a ton of these calls. That's how I know that he had like a closed door meeting with, Donald Trump Jr. It's how I know that, he, was at the birthday party for like Ron Paul, that he has talked with Brock Pierce. If you don't know who Brock Pierce is, USDT. Okay, that's who Brock Pierce is. And USDT also made this Tether Gold. They've been buying up gold like crazy. So, anyways, my point being that there are significant connections there. Take that for what you will. Okay, I'm not saying that there is big commitments from these people or anything. I'm just saying that he is having conversations with a lot of people. Okay. Now your question is, okay, well, the mining hash power, how's this all working? And, what does it look like? It looks like this. Okay. So these are actual straight up big, basically, you can think of like a big semi truck trailer with these miners, and these ant miners that they have purchased. That one is mining the Texit coin, but two, it's also mining, from what I've been told, Litecoin and Dogecoin as well, right? And so their goal is, having these in different places. I believe in Texas and Florida, and I think Arizona. I could be misspeaking on, but I believe all three of those is where we're building these. And they have one of these big ones running. They got two more that are on the way. They talk about all this different aspects in these Zoom calls, so you can like keep up the track, like what's going on, what's being built. It's a physical thing there. So some different aspects that I, really find positive about Texit Coin and what they're doing. Now, the price. Okay, let's talk about a couple things. One, this is crowdfunding. Okay, there's no private investment in this bad boy. It is all crowdfunding, purchasing of the hash mining. They have spread out, liquidity in literal gold, into Bitcoin, into Ethereum, into USDT stables, as well as even like real estate. Okay, so they have this path to 16 by February 2026. Okay, so they have this goal of how they are trying to drive Texit Coin and driving essentially the market value to this 16. Okay, so essentially what they have been doing is they have had this plan so far, knock on wood, has been going well. We'll see if this is really where they can get later here, but with their liquidity and what's required, so that they're able to support a certain token price, which they wrote here 529, and of course our token price right now is 532. The token price being up this high, they basically are nudging. They have like buy orders of taking in the Texit coin, and using liquidity with that as well. They basically plan out and see, hey, are we in a place that we're able to support that? If so, then they push that nudge. Of course, it's crypto. Okay, so always have your skepticism decision on how you can best try to ROI, and ride things till the wheels come off, like a lot of places have done. So you can actually see their liquidity reserves. I have pulled these up. You can see their USDC $1 million, the Bitcoin $1 million, the $2 million of gold that they have. So they, the liquidity is there, the community growth is there, and there's definitely, Web 2 money that has been coming into this. They've also been advertising all over the place. And when I say that, I mean literal airports like Miami and LA. I believe they're on like the hockey rink for the Texas Rangers, maybe the baseball too. All kinds of stuff that's going on. So they are definitely pushing. This guy is super active, the CEO that they have going on. And so he's super involved. I will say, so if you do end up, going in here, you do have to KYC. Okay. The KYC portion here is because you can only have 9 of these. Okay. Again, it's a block from Wales. The other aspect that I really like here is from a referral commission standpoint, it's capped each week at a lower amount, to where my point being here is, if you get some, really big, referral people, right? They could be just making like hand over fist, insane money, and the sustainability is not great. Okay. So they actually have a cap on any kind of earnings for like KOLs or other people. I think it's like $3,000 a week is like the cap for like commissions, which I'm sure, some people are like, that's a lot of money. You'd be surprised how many people some of these giant groups have come, can bring in. And so if these guys are bringing in, let's say they bring in like 900 people in 1 week, okay, they're only getting paid on 9 of those for the week, and the other gets turn to zero the next week, meaning they don't continue to get paid. Those numbers don't roll over. Those numbers just turn into zero, and they're starting basically fresh again that next week. So that's one big plus as well, is knowing that like big KOLs or stuff aren't going to be able to like drive this down by just like milking tons of referrals out there. So that's another plus that I thought was really good here. Again, you know, them mining Litecoin, Dogecoin, that's another like income revenue that we would be seeing as well. Of course, you can look up the Texas Blockchain Explorer. I'm going to put all these links down below of these different sites and stuff so you can review them. And again, if you are looking to jump in, definitely be in my Discord so we can chat about this a little bit. I did go ahead and jump in, so let me know in the comments down below if you think I'm a moron. Here's just the site just to show you that you can convert you know, Texas Coin into wrapped Texas Coin on Ethereum, or you can just go to the DEX and you can just trade it directly. I have not done that yet, but that's what I was told, is you can just go to the DEX trade and you can just trade it directly. Super simple, straightforward. Or you can send it to Ethereum. There's no fee going that way, so very nice. So let's talk about some of the like red flags. I found this article by who is this, Coin MLS, and so he, you know, thought this was likely a scam. He wrote this back in June 6th, and June 6th, where were we here? I'm just curious of when he wrote that. June 6th. So June 6th, we were around $1 a token, and now it's $5 a token. Now that doesn't mean that it's not a scam, I guess. It doesn't mean it's like super strong, but I mean, that's a 5x from when this guy wrote this. So anyways, so his big points here, which we'll touch on. So number one for him, despite selling hundreds of 100 mega hash mining shares, the network hash rate had remained unchanged. And I noticed that too. I did a lot of digging and reading, and then I was able to see that they had these coming in, these big box amp miners. And so you can see that we had this big, huge boost. There's two more that are going to be going online too. So this line is going to keep going up and up and up for the hash rate. So they are there, and they were purchased. So that's a plus, right? So that one's kind of knocked out. This is likely a violation of securities regulation. Man, I don't know anything about that, and probably, right? SEC, I have no idea. No duration or details on the mining shares being sold. Feel like it's fairly detailed. Texas is centralized 100% in the control of one person. So currently, Texit, the mining and stuff, is through all this hash rate. I believe if you are savvy, this one I don't know, guys. I believe if you're savvy and very advanced, you can maybe try to mine Texit yourself on your own machines. I don't know how that works though, and I don't have ASIC miners, so I haven't checked that out. No transparency for how Texit pays its bills and where the mining share proceeds go. I feel like this is actually fairly transparent, because when you go back to the sites here, they have like the use of funds and what they're being spent on. And so I feel like they have a fairly good breakdown there. Those Zoom meetings so far that I've been into, it's pretty transparent. They bring up numbers, they bring up dashboards, internal stuff. No developer team, core team of one person. I have seen, I think, 8 different people just on the Zoom calls alone, and those are like the heads of different folks. So I mean, there's definitely more than just him. No public source code. They just published this on Gitbook, I think like a couple weeks ago. Lack of technical specs. Data technology clone of Litecoin. It's a fork of Litecoin. Very low volume trading. So this kind of gets me, just because there's high volume of trading doesn't really mean anything, except that coin typically is paying that market maker or whoever it is to have volume. So up and down, up and down, up and down. You'll see this all the time. And so if there's not a ton of like volume, I mean, to me, I don't know if it's a really big deal. Maybe it is. Maybe people think that's crazy. Unimpressive roadmap. I actually haven't found a written out roadmap to review, so I can agree with that. Possible tax IRS violations. That's literally all of crypto. High likelihood of sanctions or shutdown by SEC, IRS, or other government agencies. Maybe. I will say that currently, where we are in the United States, they probably will be good for the next couple of years. I don't know. Maybe not. I have no idea. So anyways, he even says here he uses the term scam broadly because he doesn't get the impression that the founder or operator of the project are setting out to overtly scam people. Like I said, the big thing from this is the huge cap on any kind of referrals, KOLs, and just that getting burned. And then what was the other one I was thinking of that I already told you? But those were the things that I thought were positive about it. Again, I'm always skeptical with everything we are in crypto. You should always just be putting money into things that you're willing to lose, right? And this is like really when you're hitting, quote, investment or quote, risk, and looking at those things. I am absolutely not an expert in any way, shape, or form, as you guys already know, as you've been following me, with my decision making on Gal and everything else. But, every time I have said something's dumb, I said Dogecoin was dumb. I said there's like numerous things, right? When I heard Bitcoin initially, I thought it was dumb. And so, I was like, maybe I should just be dumb and be a degen. So I went ahead and did grab these miners, and let's see how it all plays out. But let me know what you think down in the comments down below. I really do appreciate your guys' feedback and what you think. And by all means, manage your portfolios, manage your risk, and as always, stay warm, Wookiees.